for hundreds of years. This simple piece of cloth, 14 feet long, worshipped by the faithful for centuries.
Scientists thought AI would finally solve the mystery of the Shroud of Turin. Instead, it uncovered something no one was ready to see. The moment the algorithms began scanning the cloth, the system froze, then started generating warnings researchers had never encountered before. Patterns buried deep within the fibers weren't just unusual, they were impossible. Complex signals, layered imprints, and a structure so precise it seemed engineered, not created by nature, or by any medieval craftsman. When the AI reconstructed the hidden data, the room went silent. What appeared on the screen didn't match any known artifact, technology, or any known human. Experts reviewing the results called them disturbing. Others said they were beyond scientific explanation, and a few walked out of the lab entirely, refusing to comment. Because what AI just found inside the Shroud of Turin doesn't just challenge history, it threatens to rewrite it. The mysterious ancient cloth. In the hushed grandeur of a cathedral in Turin, Italy, rests a piece of linen that has confounded scientists and historians for more than a century. The Shroud of Turin stretches nearly 14 feet in length and a little over 3 feet in width. Its surface bears the faint, haunting imprint of a crucified man. For generations, believers and skeptics alike have debated whether this enigmatic relic could be the very burial cloth of Jesus Christ. But this is far more than a simple piece of cloth marked by stains. Etched into its fibers are astonishing details. Nail wounds in the wrists, punctures from a crown of thorns, and even what appears to be a spear wound in the side. Every mark aligns uncannily with the descriptions of Jesus' crucifixion in the Bible, making the shroud a mystery that has baffled experts for centuries. Scientists have been meticulously studying this cloth for more than 100 years, driven by the mystery of how its enigmatic image came to be. They have employed every investigative tool imaginable. High-powered microscopes to examine its fibers, advanced chemical tests to detect pigments, X-rays to reveal hidden layers, and countless other techniques. Yet, despite decades of painstaking research, the origin of the image remains unexplained. An astonishingly detailed likeness appears on ancient linen with no trace of paint, dye, or conventional artistic method. The cloth lives in a special case in Turin, Italy, protected by bulletproof glass. Only a few people in the world are allowed to touch it or take samples. This makes studying it incredibly hard, but also incredibly important. What makes this cloth so mysterious is that the image acts like a photographic negative. When you take a picture of it and look at the negative, suddenly a clear face appears. But the real shock was yet to come. Scientists were on the verge of uncovering something that would make all their previous discoveries seem almost elementary, though they had no idea that the breakthrough would emerge not from traditional methods, but from artificial intelligence. First photograph reveals hidden image. In 1898, a lawyer named Secondo Pia did something that would astonish the world. He captured the first-ever photograph of the Shroud of Turin, and when he developed the images in his darkroom, what appeared on the print left him utterly stunned. The photographic negative showed a clear, detailed face staring back at him. The faint image on the cloth had somehow become a perfect portrait on film. News of the shroud spread rapidly across Europe, drawing scientists eager to witness the phenomenon firsthand. How could a centuries-old piece of cloth produce an image that behaved like a photographic negative, revealing astonishing detail invisible to the naked eye? It was a mystery that seemed to anticipate the principles of modern photography long before cameras were ever invented. But Pia's discovery created more questions than answers. If this really was Jesus' burial cloth, how did it capture such a perfect image? And if it wasn't, how did ancient people create something that worked like photography? For the next several decades, researchers studied every inch of the cloth. They found that the image only goes a few micrometers deep into the fibers, thinner than a human hair. There was no paint, no dye, and no sign that anyone had drawn or painted the image. The bloodstains told a different story from the body image. Scientific tests confirmed they were genuine blood, fully absorbed into the fabric, whereas the body image rested only on the surface of the fibers. It's as if the image hovered above the cloth, careful not to touch a single drop of blood, one researcher later remarked, capturing the baffling nature of the phenomenon. This suggested that the blood had reached the cloth first, and somehow the image of the body formed afterward, mysteriously appearing without disturbing a single blood stain. Scientists also discovered pollen from plants that only grew in ancient Israel, and the cloth had been woven in a way that matched textiles from that time and place. Everything seemed to point to the cloth being exactly what believers claimed it was. Yet one major test in 1988 suggested the cloth was made in medieval times, not in Jesus' era, creating a significant debate that continues today. But what scientists didn't know was that artificial intelligence would soon examine the cloth in ways no human ever could. And what it would find would be absolutely terrifying. Dating controversy: medieval or ancient? The 1988 carbon dating results were meant to settle the argument once and for all. Yet instead of closing the case on the ancient mystery, those numbers sparked a scientific battle that would last for decades. STURP, the Shroud of Turin research project, was a team of scientists formed in 1978 to carry out the first deep, multidisciplinary investigation of the shroud. One chemist from the original STURP group couldn't shake the sense that something wasn't right. After years of studying its fibers under powerful microscopes, what he observed simply didn't match the carbon dating results the public had accepted. Every thread seemed to tell a different story than the dates claimed, he later said, capturing the ongoing puzzle that continued to confuse even the experts. So, he took a step that stunned the scientific world. He chose to re-examine the exact corner piece used for the 1988 dating. What he uncovered was disturbing. The corner sample held cotton fibers blended into the linen. It carried chemical signatures different from the main part of the cloth. Under his microscope, he noticed that this corner had been rewoven using other materials. This suggested the 1988 test may have dated repair threads from medieval times rather than the true cloth itself. The scientific community immediately divided into two sides. One group argued the carbon dating had to be correct and that no other evidence could override it, while the other pointed toward the growing flaws in the medieval explanation that no one could rationally solve. If the shroud truly came from medieval artists, why couldn't modern science recreate it? Researchers tried everything imaginable: painting, pressing, heating, and even firing lasers, yet none of it produced the same faint, extremely precise image that appeared only on the very outer surface of individual fibers. Experts found themselves staring at a frightening possibility. Either the carbon dating was wrong, or they were dealing with the most advanced forgery in all of human history, one crafted with methods that even today's technology couldn't replicate. The ancient mystery refused to fade away. Instead, it became even stranger and more impossible with each test. Scientists realized they needed new tools, new techniques, and new perspectives for interpreting what they were seeing. What they didn't know was that the breakthrough would come from artificial intelligence, and that what AI would uncover within the shroud's fibers would be more shocking than anything they had ever found before. machines that see hidden truths. By the 2020s, artificial intelligence had reached a level of power capable of detecting patterns completely invisible to human eyes. Wanting to push research further than ever before, scientists fed high-resolution images of the Shroud into advanced AI systems, hoping to uncover secrets that decades of normal investigation had never managed to reveal. The AI began with something known as principal component analysis, a method that strips away all the extra noise and confusion inside an image to expose the most meaningful information. When the AI examined the Shroud, something extraordinary happened. The system discovered that 98.4% of all the information in the Shroud's image existed in a single component: the intensity of its light and dark regions. This stunned researchers, since ordinary photos or paintings spread their information across many different components. But that was only the start. When the AI analyzed how the bright and dark regions were arranged, it uncovered something that made scientists' hearts pound. The pattern was too precise to be random, completely unlike what you'd expect from paint, smudges, or accidental stains. Every line and mark appeared intentional, as though following a hidden blueprint rather than the chaotic spread of normal materials. Instead, the image obeyed a mathematical law. The AI discovered that darker regions on the cloth corresponded exactly to areas where a body would have been closer to the fabric, while lighter regions matched areas that would have been farther away. It was as if the cloth had somehow measured the distance between itself and a human body, and then encoded that distance into an image. This was astonishing, because no human artist could achieve that level of flawless precision. Even the most gifted painter would leave tiny errors that AI would immediately detect. Yet the Shroud's image followed the distance rule perfectly from edge to edge, revealing no trace of human inaccuracy. The machine also checked whether this could be pure coincidence. It examined thousands of other images, from paintings to photographs to deliberately crafted fakes designed to fool the system. None of them displayed the same mathematical link between brightness and distance. What made the discovery even more unnerving was that the AI found this same pattern in both visible light and ultraviolet photographs of the Shroud. It's like the image was engineered to exist in every type of light, one researcher said, stunned by what the AI had shown. Whatever had formed the image had done so across multiple kinds of light spectra, something no medieval artist could have possibly achieved. Scientists began to realize they were dealing with something entirely different. The Shroud wasn't a painting or a normal photograph. It was a kind of three-dimensional recording device that captured spatial information through light and shadow. But how could such a thing exist with ancient technology? And what kind of force could create such a flawless mathematical signature? The AI had opened a doorway to an even deeper mystery, one that was about to reveal the most astonishing truth ever uncovered about the Shroud of Turin. AI cracks ancient mystery. When AI dug deeper into the Shroud's image, it started finding patterns that human researchers had completely missed. The artificial intelligence wasn't looking for religious signs or trying to prove anything. It was simply analyzing data. But what it found left scientists speechless. The AI discovered that the image contained repeating mathematical ratios. These weren't random coincidences, but precise geometric relationships that appeared throughout the face, hands, and body. It was as if whoever or whatever created the image had been following a sophisticated mathematical formula. Even more shocking, these patterns remained consistent when the AI analyzed the image under different types of light. Whether using visible light, ultraviolet, or even infrared photography, the mathematical relationship stayed exactly the same. This suggested that the encoding went deeper than just surface coloring. It was built into the very structure of the cloth. The machine also uncovered something that sent chills through the researchers. Buried within the faint image were symmetries and patterns that seemed to anticipate where the most critical details would later be discovered. "It's almost as if the Shroud knew we'd have the tools to see it one day," one scientist whispered, marveling at how the image seemed designed to reveal deeper secrets as technology advanced. Scientists tested this discovery by running control experiments. They fed the AI images of medieval paintings, modern photographs, and even computer-generated fake shrouds. None of them contained the same type of mathematical encoding. The shroud was unique, but perhaps the most terrifying discovery was how the bloodstains related to the body image. The AI found that the blood and the body image were created by completely separate processes. The blood soaked into the cloth normally, but the body image appeared to form around the blood without disturbing it. This meant that two different events had marked the cloth. First, real blood had stained the fabric in patterns that matched crucifixion wounds described in the Bible. Then later, some unknown process had created the body image without affecting the existing bloodstains. The AI calculated the probability of this happening by accident. Either someone had planned this incredible detail, or they had witnessed an actual event that left both blood and image on the same cloth. This left scientists speechless. When they published these findings, the reaction was immediate and intense. Some called it proof of a miracle. Others insisted there had to be a natural explanation. But everyone agreed on one thing: the Shroud of Turin was far stranger than anyone had imagined. The shocking truth was becoming clear. This wasn't just an ancient relic or a medieval fake. It was some kind of recording device that had captured information in ways that modern science was only beginning to understand. The truth AI revealed. After months of analysis, cross-checking, and verification, artificial intelligence delivered its final conclusion about the Shroud of Turin, and the result left scientists everywhere stunned into silence, exposing a startling truth. The machine had decoded something that challenged the very core of what we believed was possible in the ancient world. The AI's sweeping examination showed that the shroud carried multiple layers of encoded information, all produced at the same moment by a single, precisely controlled burst of energy. The radiation hypothesis wasn't just the strongest explanation, it was the only explanation capable of covering all the mathematical patterns, three-dimensional encoding, multispectral consistency, and molecular-level accuracy that the system detected within the fabric. But what made the AI's discovery truly unsettling was this: the energy burst that formed the shroud's image would have required a level of technology and precision beyond anything available in medieval times or even in our current era. The surge of radiation that encoded three-dimensional data into the linen, while affecting only the outermost molecular layers, demonstrated a control over matter and energy that modern science can measure but still cannot replicate. The system had essentially shown that the Shroud of Turin was produced by a natural event we do not yet understand. Not a miracle, not a forgery, but a real physical occurrence that followed natural laws while pushing those laws to their very limits. The AI couldn't identify what triggered this burst of energy or why it happened, but it had proven with certainty that the event had occurred. Scientists realized they were witnessing evidence of something that happened nearly 2,000 years ago, yet displayed a level of technical precision humanity still has not achieved. The radiation patterns built into the shroud suggested a mastery of energy and matter so advanced that even our best laboratories seemed primitive in comparison. The frightening truth the AI exposed wasn't supernatural. It was natural, yet extraordinary. The machine had uncovered the fingerprints of a phenomenon that behaved according to physical laws, while surpassing everything we currently think those laws permit. This ancient cloth had become a message written in radiation and encoded in mathematics, waiting centuries for artificial intelligence to finally unravel its impossible design. What do you think about AI's discovery of radiation patterns and mathematical encoding within the shroud? Could this point to an unknown natural phenomenon, or do you think there's another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next.